Hello ladies, this is Miss Lizzy and I am here today to talk to you about a woman who embodies every aspect of the word SHERO, and that woman is Eleanor Roosevelt, and I'm so excited. So Eleanor Roosevelt was born in 1884. She was about 10 years old by the time both of her parents were gone. She lost her mother when she was 8, and about 2 years later her father died. And so because of that, she was placed in the care of her maternal grandmother. And when she was 15, her maternal grandmother enrolled her in a very distinguished school in London. From that experience, she was able to gain some self-confidence, and she was able to become educated and involved in politics. So she was well aware and involved in politics and a public figure before she met her husband, Franklin Roosevelt. Her and Franklin married when she was about 21 years old. And in the first 11 years of their marriage, they had 6 kids. But about 25, 26-ish years into their marriage, Eleanor found love letters written between her husband and her social secretary. And they did not divorce, but she decided to start focusing her attention on her public life and on her social work as opposed to her role as a wife. And she became more of a political companion to her husband than anything. Eleanor Roosevelt was a huge advocate for human rights. She fought specifically for the rights of women and for the rights of African Americans and for World War II refugees. And so because those things were pretty controversial at the time, unfortunately, she was seen as a controversial political figure for being an advocate for those groups of people. Later, about 10 years before her husband was elected president, he was diagnosed with polio, and in his battle with polio, he ended up surviving, but did unfortunately lose the use of his legs and was put in a wheelchair and had never walked again. And his mother, Sarah, really encouraged Franklin to retire and become a country gentleman, but his wife, Eleanor, on the other hand, really encouraged him to not give up politics and to continue to stay involved. And he took the advice of his wife and stayed involved in politics, and that resulted in him being elected president 10 years later. Eleanor, before he was elected and started his 4-term presidency, she wrote that she almost dreaded what being a first lady would be because of traditionally what the role of the first lady was. And so because of that, she came in and she rewrote what it meant to be a first lady. And she went from being just a domesticated wife, hostess of the White House in the background, to hosting her own press conferences and writing a daily column in the newspaper and writing a monthly column in a magazine and hosting a weekly radio station. She spoke on behalf of her husband because he had polio, and she even sometimes publicly disagreed with her husband's policies. She matched her husband's presidential salary and ended up giving most of it away to charity. She lived for 17 years after her husband's death too, and in those 17 years continued to stay involved in politics and continued to be a human rights activist in her public life. She was seen by some as the most controversial first lady. A lot of people put her under scrutiny and did not agree with her, but she was also seen by others as the first lady of the world. And that's a quote from Harry S. Truman, the president that followed after Franklin. Eleanor's story is really inspiring to me because it is a story of empowerment. She gave herself a platform and a voice to speak out on the things that she was passionate about, and she fought for people who didn't have that same privilege. Eleanor Roosevelt reminds me that my voice and my opinions matter, and she reminds me that it is important to fight for human rights, basic human rights, even when that is controversial and even if it might bring scrutiny. She embodies what it means to be strong, smart, and bold, and that is why I chose her to highlight for this for this virtual lesson for you girls, because I want you to remember that when you embody being strong, smart, and bold, when you use your voice and when you believe that your opinions matter, you can make a difference in the world, and you can make a difference in your world, even if it's not as the First Lady of the United States. And so I hope you girls enjoy. There is so much more information on Eleanor Roosevelt out there. There are so many books on her. Please do some further research, find some stuff out about her, because she's pretty amazing. We miss you girls so much, and we cannot wait to see you again, and we hope you are staying happy and healthy, and embodying what it means to be strong, smart, and bold, just like Eleanor Roosevelt. Bye, girls.